Okay, so I know these guys have been waiting so long. I made them wait 40 minutes, 35 minutes for this to talk about their series. The Leafs get their rematch against Tampa Bay Lightning. So I'm gonna let these guys do their talking. I'm gonna give you my prediction. I think the Leafs will win in six, but the caveat is if it goes to game seven, the Bolts will win. And I think that's a fair caveat. And this it kind of the reason I give this condition out is because it kind of reminds me against it looking back to 2016, 2017, 2018 for the Capitals. We knew that if we lost that game six overtime, we would have lost it in seven. I think the Leafs have that same situation here in the sense that it's just a mental block for them. They know that if it goes to that do or die moment, they will die. But if they avoid that, if they win in six, then they'll obviously get the chance to close it out and move on to the next round. But we'll see. Dave, Cristian, I don't know where to start this because you guys, like, this is your team. I know that you guys wanted to speak about this. I give up my prediction. Take it away, boys.
Dude, so this is the make or break trauma dump year. Right. I think we're in agreement. I'm personally in agreement with you. I think Leafs in six. That is my gonna be my hottest prediction of the day, just because this team could go one of two ways. Like legitimately have no idea how this is gonna go. The past season, I would say 82 games between both teams will tell you if you were a sane hockey fan watching this, if you came in not a fan of either teams, a sane person would be like, you know what, the Leafs have, you watch every single game for both of those teams, you analyze all of them, you're like, you know what, the Leafs actually look like the better team this year. They probably 90% of the time should win this series, 100%. But we know it's the Leafs, right? There's some, like, I don't even know, some crazy existential force going against them every time. And yeah, if it goes to game seven, it basically feels like, just start planning the funeral again. I don't know, Cristian, man. Like, is this it? Is this it? That's the question I'm gonna pose to you. Is this it?
This is it for not just the roster, but for the coaching staff, for the front office. Like this is it for the whole damn organization. Um, yeah, I mean, I will preface this by saying I am always going to be optimistic entering a playoff series involving the Leafs because I mean, what the hell would I be doing if I'm pessimistic going in? Like, I don't want to watch my team lose. You're goddamn right. I'm gonna find a way to convince myself they're gonna win, and I've done that here too. I I want to take them in six. I want to take them in seven. I almost want to say that they can do it in five, which I know is like that's like
Dude, they could
hypocrisy.
do it
Like
in
that's just
four.
like they could. Like it's
They
in them.
could.
It's in them. Okay, Dave. That right there, that has given me the confidence to say I think the Leafs can do this in six. I will go into reasons. Like we're gonna have this conversation. I'll outline some of my thoughts on why they can do this in five. Okay. I really do think they can do that. Like I said, optimistic going into every series except maybe the Washington one. And funny enough, that might have been their one of their best, like just like efforts. They didn't win the series, but that was just so enjoyable to watch, even though we lost the series. Yes, we know the demons, all this stuff, but yeah, I do want to talk nitty gritty stuff as usual. What separates the Leafs this year from the Tampa Bay Lightning? As they've said, throw away the past context of both teams. We don't like forget they played each other last year. Forget the Tampa Bay Lightning have gone to three straight finals. All this stuff. Um, what do the Leafs have that Tampa doesn't? My answer to that is William Nylander. That is my answer. Just because I go through the forward depth charts and the Leafs have a big four while the Tampa Bay Lightning have a big three. Okay. It's Stamkos, Point, Kucherov, and it's Matthews, Marner, Tavares, Nylander. Nylander is something else this year. He really is. And I know he tailed off to end the year, but I really think they are really going to be relying on Willie to not drive a line on his own, but to be that one man breakout as we've seen this year, where he just decides, I'm going to score a goal. He did that a lot this year. And I think that's reflected in how they're setting up the power play as well. They are entrusting Willie to be the tank, the chief of that second power play unit. They've said, Willie, this is not a demotion. This is in some ways a promotion. we're handing you the keys to the second power play because there's no way we're getting by with just one unit, and they're going to let him feast on the second poundy kill unit of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Before I get into more, Dave, is there anything you want to say to that? Anything?
I mean, you bring up a really great point. I think if this is like William Nylander, I think out of all the Leafs on this current roster, all the ones that have been there for all this time, I think he's one that's probably caught the most unneedless amount of flack. Going back to his whole contract debacle and whatever, it always felt like there was a rift between the generations of Leaf fans, I would say. People that defended William Nylander to the nth degree and people that wanted to bash William Nylander to the nth degree. I think this season, Mr. 40 goal scorer, there was only 2 players on this current roster right now that scored 40 goals this past season. And one of them was Austin Matthews, obviously, who's been looking hot. He's another X factor I'm looking at as well. Been really hot coming down the stretch. And William Nylander, who has been electric all season, passing career highs in goals, in points. And not even just that, it's just his all-around play, his puck skills, his decision-making, his body movements on and off the puck have been phenomenal. This should be everybody knows about the other 3, but this should be also William Nylander taking that next step into superstardom in Toronto, making everybody want to be, Nylander fans again. I think there's still some holdouts, even though there really shouldn't be. But if William Nylander cements a really good series, man, he's got a statue on Legends Row 20 years down the line alongside the other 3 we just mentioned.
That sounds nice, man.
Oh man, I wish. That's what I want to hope for, right?
Yes. And we have the passion and we're going to stick to the passion. Just looking at these depth charts again here. I'm gonna read out Tampa's depth chart here. So first line, they are loading it. They are going with the 3-headed monster. It looks like they're gonna go Stamkos, Point, Kucherov. Dear God, that's a scary line. And I would assume this is gonna be the checking line. Hagel, Cirelli, Killorn. Okay. Colton, Nick Paul, and Mikey Eyssimont. And we know the 4th line. I'm not even gonna read the 4th line of the Lightning. When I look at this, to me, what I'm seeing is you're going to have the top 6 lines, or both teams' top 6s are going to be going up against each other. It's just a matter of if they want to go checking line versus scoring line or scoring line versus scoring line. And what I mean by that is Leafs have Bunting, Matthews, Marner. And I do think they're going to, as long as we're on the road, John Cooper's going to throw out the checking line. I think he'll probably throw out Hagel, Cirelli, Killorn. And then you're going to have Tavares, O'Reilly, Nylander going up against the 3-headed monster. I think in years past, even going back to the Bruins series, the 3-headed monster line, whether it be Tampa's or the Bruins, could feast on whatever we threw out as a checking line. That's not the case this year, man. That is not the case this year. With O'Reilly at center and Tavares on the wing, like Tavares has only looked better on the wing, I think. And I was someone who said, I think we're over exaggerating when all the stuff last year was they could transition him to wing. They think maybe he's not cut out for center anymore. I thought that was all bull crap. But seeing O'Reilly come in, like, I'm fine with that right now. I'm totally fine with that. O'Reilly has been a revelation in the small amount of time he's been here, especially coming back from the finger injury. I think he's looked rejuvenated, slightly more pep in his step. He's a beast in the corners. And he's really heady. Like he's got himself. I know his stick looks absurd, but he can pass the puck around. He can absolutely just fire bullets to players in the slot. Like he really can. I'm really excited to see Ryan O'Reilly. I think he's going to be part of the reason why this is different. Those 3rd line matchups, though, I think we're going to have 3rd line versus 3rd line, and for Leaf fans, that may be a little terrifying because Nick Paul lives in our deepest, darkest nightmares. Okay, he is our sleep paralysis demon. Even Ross Colton, man, like that guy was scary last year too. He's a good player, and I don't know if this guy's gonna be a new sleep paralysis demon, Mikey Eyssimont, but I don't hate him honestly. I probably will in 2 weeks. The Leafs are going to be throwing out Kerfoot, Achari, and Yarncrow against that 3rd line. Dave, I'm gonna go to you first. I'll give you some thoughts after too. But like, do you have confidence in that third line to go up against the sleep paralysis Stevens, Nick Paul, Russ Colton, and maybe like Mikey Eisman? Because I think that's what's gonna happen.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not really feeling the way that this lineup's been shaking out. So those are practice lines that you were reading off there, Christian.
I believe so. I'll even
Okay.
confirm. Yeah, this is from Daily Face Off right now. I'll find the latest tweets, but I do believe this is matching up. Yeah.
I personally think Yarncroke should be playing on the first line alongside Matthews and Nylander, or Matthews and Marner. I think Yarncroke, Matthews, Nylander. Then I would probably say Bunting, Tavares, Marner, and then that would make the third line. Because Matthew Nyes, it looks like he's not. I guess we'll bring him up more, so he's not in the picture for game one for sure. I'd like to personally see Ryan O'Reilly start out on that third line. Personally, I think that the way the team was built, so it's been brought up before, a couple of years ago, our team was built when John Tavares first joined the Leafs. It was supposed to be built as the three-headed monster going down the middle, right? You have Matthews, you have Tavares, you have Nazem Kadri at the time, who unfortunately couldn't stay in the lineup due to disciplinary reasons. But now you have a guy who's a former Conn Smythe winner in Ryan O'Reilly. I think if he's down on that third line, he could be feasting on guys like Nick Paul and Ross Colton. But
you're convincing me, Dave. You're convincing me, though, man.
Here's the thing, though. The beauty of this team is that however it starts out till however long the series ends, it could change in so many different ways. But they've had time to fine-tune the lineup. I personally think the lineup is better if you move somebody like Michael Bunting off that first line. I know he's gonna get targeted like he's got an arrow, a target on his back. They're gonna be gunning for him like nobody's business. They already did. The second last game of the season, Michael Bunting was getting tossed around. The guy was getting cross checks to the neck, and then if he looked at somebody like Corey Perry the wrong way, the rest were going to throw him out. So I think he's too much of a liability right now, and that's not going against his skill set. I think right now as a player and how the refs and everybody in the league kind of perceives him, I think it's too dangerous to have him on that top line. If he's playing on that top line with like Matthews and Nylander or Matthews and Marner, and he takes a needless penalty, then you only have two of the three guys out there. Like that's your first line left winger that you're down, right? You don't want that. I think if you move him down a little bit to the second to maybe the third line, the problem is like I do want to believe in the depth. I really do. I think that's what I think the top six kind of cancels each other out, for lack of a better term, here and there. More or less, I would say they go 1-for-1. Years past, though, it's kind of been that depth scoring and those depth guys on the other team that have done us in. Case in point, Nick Paul, 2 goals in Game 7 to sink the Leafs streams, right? Which one of them in the bottom 6 wants to step up? Is it going to be Sam Lafferty, who's kind of been non-existent a little bit since, he's been here and there. He's done
come on a little bit, but it's still not like
I would say for 3/4 of the time he's been here, which is probably about 20 games, he's kind of done a Danny Phantom routine. He's done a little bit of, he's done his skating around the ice very quick, 100%.
Yes.
Is it going to be Alexander Kerfoot, who actually had a very, very, very good playoffs last year? I thought right until the end. That end, soured a lot of people's opinions on Alex Kerfoot, and it just kind of carried into the rest of this season. Can he step up and, be what he was brought to be? Like, just step up to the occasion. I'm asking for one player to step up to the plate. It can't always, I know you, listen, money is money. We'll talk about Matthews making 11 mil. We'll talk about Mitch Marner making 10.5. We'll talk about John Tavares making 11. At this point of the season, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about
Nobody's
the
making money now. Like this is when the
It's
contracts, like everyone's playing for free.
This is
It's
everybody's
weird.
playing for free.
In every sport.
Everybody's playing for everything though. And I want to see
Yes.
everybody give everything though.
Yes.
Who is going to be the player to step it up? Is it going to be Noel Acciari?
I think that's a very good bet.
Oh, I've absolutely loved him so much. Even if these guys, if they're not stepping up with goals, just make sure that their bottom six isn't chipping in with goals. At the very least, cancel it out. If you can go on and get a goal, fantastic. I think it would be remiss to not also mention two guys that were on this team last year who are not currently on this team. Two depth guys, I would say. So Rasmus Sandin, who went out to the Caps, we traded him out to the Caps. And Pierre Engvall, who was at times a source of frustration for Leaf fans everywhere. Because
17 or 18 playoff games with 0 goals, 0 points.
0 goals, right? Yeah. I mean, you see this guy. We said it in
3 series.
3 series. You're right. It was 3 series, Brian. We said it in our post trade deadline breakdown. We were like, listen, the guy has the tools. He had the speed. He had the finesse. He also had the physique. Not many players have that. He had all the tools there. For whatever reason, he just couldn't get all 3 moving at one time. Who is going to come in now to replace that? Zach Aston-Reese is another guy I'm looking at.
Baby.
He's been playing pretty hot down the stretch. He might be the only reason why somebody like Matthew Knies as the wild card isn't in game 1 right now, right? So I think those are all just some things to think about for us. We're not on. This is today. We're recording on the Monday, so it's playoff day. It's Maple Leafs playoff eve. Will the clock end up striking midnight on this team? I hope not. I hope we could keep going. I actually genuinely really like the construct of this team, and I actually really like all the players on it. I couldn't say that before. Even a guy, let's get into the defense and we'll talk about some of the guys there, but like running off like up and down this team, I think this is probably the best assembled team that the Leafs have put into the playoffs, I think, heading in. I just hope that they get rewarded I'll be honest, I hope Kyle Dubas gets rewarded for what he's done. I think he's been one of the biggest pieces to this puzzle, even though he's not on the ice. This guy has constantly put together 105, 110, 115 point teams on basically like this guy's doing some crazy contortionist like things to try to fit the team under the cap. I think if you lose and he's gone, which I don't think should happen. It's just like, man, we're gonna lose somebody for nothing, and for what? Because we just couldn't get over these mental hurdles. It's all mental hurdles at this point, I think. So, I mean, that whole long-winded thing for me to say, like, let's I don't know, you want to move on to the defense now? I think we spent a lot of time.
I love your soliloquy, man. I do want to just add 2 things. I'm not going to go long on this.
Go.
So first thing is a funny thing. Okay, you said he's a contortionist there, Dubas. You know that clip of Ovechkin where they ask him like you have to like say what your profession is if it wasn't hockey, and he's like, I am a professional goal horn tester. You know that clip? Yeah, it's like that's Dubas. I am a professional financial contortionist. That's what Kyle Dubas is. Okay, he's a financial contortionist. We're talking about those X factors in the bottom 6, and I just want to give 3 names. I'm not going to go long-winded on them here, but we talked about Noel Acciari. We brought him up already. He seems like someone that's got an ugly goal in him. He's got 1 ugly goal on him, and then the rest of the time he'll be bruising people, and he's going to add 3 more notches in that nose of his. He's got the Colby Armstrong look going on. I love it. Calle Jarnkrok, he seems like he's just got like a 2-goal game where he just freaking snipes one on the second power play unit, and just like I really think that Calle Jarnkrok has shown that he can be our bottom six X Factor guy. Brian loves to talk about it in our chat. Like he would always be like, I swear you guys send these stupid yarn and crocodile emojis like every game, man. According to Brian, Yarn Crow is like a 40 goal scorer. Okay.
Happens pretty often. You'd be surprised.
It did. We sent those emojis like so many times, man. And I have to give my kudos to a legend of last year's series that I would love to see show up again. And even if he scores one goal like he did last year, I would be so happy. David Kampf, this guy scored 3 goals on Andre Vasilevsky last year. Andre freaking Vasilevsky.
How did we waste that?
Dude,
how did we waste that?
Oh, I know,
my God.
know. And that's why I'm hoping that David Kampf shows that he's also just a playoff gamer and he's just going to do it again, man. He's going to show us it wasn't a fluke and we didn't waste it. He's going to just say, nah, man, that's me. That's me. David Kampf is him. Okay, did you guys see that clip of Austin Reeves, the Lakers game yesterday? He hit like a 3-pointer. He's like, I'm him. I want to see David Kampf mic'd up and him saying, I'm him. Okay.
In German, though.
Yeah. No, Czech. Or,
Czech. Is he Czech or is he German?
Czech. No,
I swear
Czech.
he was German. That's
Oh,
crazy.
Kampf, it sounds German. Yeah. It's yeah, I'm really hoping to see David Kampf show up because he might be my favorite bottom 6 guy. He's up there with legends for me. Like not these are bottom 6 guys, but like my favorite just like weird Leafs, not weird, but anyways, Ponikarovsky, number 23, I loved him. Grabowski, loved him. Random dudes, like David Kampf is random dude number 1 that I freaking love right now. So I'm gonna keep my eye out for him.
So you mentioned Vasilevsky. There's something I just wanted to ask you guys. Like this, I think this is an underrated storyline. Ilya Samsonov versus Andrei Vasilevsky, 2 Russian goaltenders going at it. Samsonov, obviously, he was talented with us. Not great. He's good. But with you guys, it looks like he's taking it to the next level. Meanwhile, he's facing like the goalie that took the league to the next level in Andrei Vasilevsky. What do you guys think about that? Like, do you think that Samsonov can hold his own? Do you think that Vasilevsky is going to take it over? Or do you think that Samsonov is going to cement his flag and just do his thing? And just...
So we talked about David Kampf and wasting his performance last year in the playoffs and it being like, damn it, that happened and we might have missed our chance. You could say the same thing about Vasilevsky and how he could have been had by the Leafs last year. And for parts of the series, he was, right? Like, oh my God.
He just won like game 2, like 5-0, no?
Game one, man. We started off hot. Yeah. That's one of the biggest things here, right? Is can you really expect Andrei Vasilevsky to not be Andrei Vasilevsky for half of the series again? And I would say yes, because Andrei Vasilevsky hasn't been Andrei Vasilevsky for most of this year. His numbers have not been Vasi-like. This is not Vesnilevsky. Okay, this is pretty good Alevsky. Doesn't sound as good. Yeah, so honestly, I think this is more about Samsonov stepping up to the plate than it is about trying to have Vasilevsky again. And I think Sammy does have that in him. He's a confident guy, and as long as he's healthy, which we certainly hope he's healthy enough. We've seen him limp and do some stuff in the past couple games, but he should be all right for game 1. And I do have the confidence in him to perform how he has for most of the season. Listen, every goalie lets in stinkers, but down the stretch, Sammy has let in less and less stinkers. So yeah, I do think he's got it in him. How do you feel about it, Dave?
So, Cristian, I have to ask one question of you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel more confident with Ilya Samsonov in net currently than you did this time last year with Jack Campbell in net? Because I know the answer to that question.
Yeah. Listen,
I 100% feel much more confident with Sammy in net. Listen, love me some soup. I loved Jack Campbell when he was here, but let's not cover over the facts here. Guy was a streaky goalie, and we've seen it this year in Edmonton. When something goes wrong for Jack Campbell, it kind of feels like the house is falling down on him, right? And we started to see it. Those cracks, I feel, were really starting to show by the end of that series. By game 5, by game 6, by game 7 especially, Jack Campbell was letting in some oopsie daisies, basically. Let's call it what it is.
I think that's
Weren't
exactly what you would call them. To be honest, like if you ask
they
Jack
were,
Campbell, that's what
they
he would
were
call them.
oopsie daisies.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the exact words.
so on this Ilya Samsonov front, he could start the series perfect. Shutout in game 1, in game 2. When we get down to game 5, game 6, game 7, is he gonna rise again? Some people are gonna have to rise up to the occasion here. Is he gonna rise up to the occasion and take a game away where Andrei Vasilevsky probably should win that battle? Is he gonna step up? I think he actually can. I think the Leafs are well equipped. If he's able to play in all 7 games against Tampa, I think they're well equipped, or he is at the very least, to challenge Vasilevsky for the best goalie in the series, right? What about you, Christian? How are you feeling there?
Yeah, no, I do feel the same way. I do think that Sammy can come into like a game 5 in the 2-2 series and steal it. And his post game is like, we just smile. We smile and we win. Like I could totally see that, man. So yes, I do think we have to talk about the defense though. This is a probably I don't know. No, it does feel like the deepest, definitely deepest defense. But
You have like 10
just in terms
defensemen.
of
Literally, you have
yes,
like,
Yeah,
deep. So
yeah.
deepest is the wrong
in
word.
terms of players, yeah.
I think what I'm trying to say is more of
Quantity.
just the 6
But
guys that you can put out because we have 10 defensemen, but we're not going 10 and 6 or 10 and 8, right? We're not doing 8 forwards and 10 defensemen on any given night. We're only gonna ice 6 or 7 guys at a time. And of those 6 or 7, like that core right there is pretty freaking deep. It does seem like we're gonna get the passion in game 1, which I'm very excited
Thank
about.
God. Oh
My
man,
God, that guy can move bodies in front of
over
net.
Liljegren?
no,
Yes. I'm
Lucha,
sorry, Brian. Yeah,
Really?
yes, it's gonna be Shan
a
over Liljegren. It
passion,
will
baby.
be. Yeah, the
Wow.
passion that nights us all.
I
I
know
know.
a lot of people are having a tough time with that. A lot of people are
I
saying,
mean, me too, man. Yeah.
Wait,
I
so you're starting
listen.
Brody, Hall, and Shen as your right side when you have Liljegren? That
Our
is
pairings are
interesting.
McCabe Brody. That is your shutdown pair.
That's your 35
Whoever
minutes a night,
Keith
guys.
exactly. You
The
then are going
workhorses.
Giordano Hall. That is like we just play defense and get the puck out, and Hall just that he walks the blue line in the offensive zone,
Riley's
just
third
throws
pairing?
it wherever. You're going Riley Shen. You're going Riley Shen, and
Wow.
listen, I've talked about this many times because we had the ups and downs of Riley during the season. And I always came back to the point of this guy turns it on in the playoffs. This guy just, for whatever reason, he just does it in the playoffs. He does. He's scored big goals. He's put up points. He's logged hard minutes. And just in your mind, it's tough to think of a quintessential gaffe that he's made in a playoff series that has cost the Leafs tremendously. It's not usually been him. He's gotten the job done for the most part. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, especially when he's on the third pair and probably having his minutes, maybe not scaled back is the word, but in line with what they should be.
Definitely
He's not going to be
lightened.
a horse. Yeah. And he's not going to be exposed, right? That's what it is. He's more than capable of playing 23, 24, 25 minutes a night. But sometimes he might have played 26 or 27 in the playoffs or just in the regular season. And maybe that's when you get a bit of the Morgan Riley that we don't want to see. But honestly, these pairs can if they wanted to, they could go 20-20-20. That's not what's going to happen. You're going to definitely lean on that McCabe Brody pair a ton, but that's fine. And I think Riley is an X factor because I think he can still be that playoff performer in lesser minutes. It might keep him fresher. I feel really good about these D pairs, Dave. How about you, man?
So, like I was about to say before, dude, I don't know if I want to feel bad. I don't want to feel bad for Timothy Liljegren here. I don't think
Yeah,
we
it's
should
tough,
feel
man.
bad. He had his opportunity on the plate. They got rid of, Rasmus Sandin it looked like he wasn't gonna make the top 6 in here. But we had the faith that Liljegren would hold his spot. And there were stretches at the beginning of this season where he was holding down his spot. unfortunately, I would say since the trade deadline, maybe just a bit before that, it kind of feels like the wheels have just fallen off on him. Now, granted, Luke Schenn is not the most fleet of foot. He's not a perfect defenseman by any standards. But what he is somebody who is massive, who will beat the living shit out of people in front of the net. Give me that. That's all I want. Listen, we have so many guys who are defensively astute, fleet of foot. Give me one guy like an Ilya Lyubushkin, but I would say Luke Schenn is Ilya Lyubushkin plus. I just like his skill set, I think, a little bit better than Luke Schenn. And listen, everybody loves a good feel-good story. 2008, the Leafs drafted Luke Schenn with the 5th overall pick, right? Was it 5th or 4th? 5th overall pick.
5th.
4 years later, they sent him away to the Philadelphia Flyers when they picked up James Van Riemsdyk.
James Van Hockey.
Awesome trade in hindsight. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
Luke Schenn has waddled his way through the depths of bottom NHL teams and worked his way back onto an NHL
Even
roster.
the minor leagues, man.
In the minor leagues as well.
Yeah.
Where he finally made his way back with, funny enough, the Tampa Bay Lightning, and he won 2 straight Stanley Cups with them. Granted, he wasn't playing like he by no stretch of the imagination was he playing 30 minutes a night, like called upon all the time. But he was there. He was in the lineup. He did his part. That's what I want to see. I don't know if we could get that out of Timothy Liljegren currently. I would like to see Timothy Liljegren return next season and years after this. But I don't want to trust him in these high pressure situations at this point in time. I would rather have Luke Schenn in there.
If the Leafs do what we want to do, which is win a round, play in the second round, there's going to be injuries. At least one, whether it's forward or defense. And Nyes is that forward X factor that's not in the lineup, and Liljegren is going to be that guy potentially if there's an injury in the D-core. I do think it could depend on who were to get injured. Like you can definitely make an argument for Gustafsson to come in and run a power play if you're losing one of those two guys. But Liljegren is right there too, and in all likelihood, in a long run, he gets in. So we can see him prove us wrong or prove us right about our thoughts on him currently. And I think we've summed up a lot of the good stuff here. I think just the nice thing and why he's not in, can do it really quick. He impressed me a lot in the 3 games. I probably even go overboard. I'm talking about stuff like, oh my God, he looks like rookie Matthews. And please, I'm not saying, dude, he's going to score 4 goals in his first game and 40 goals in a rookie season. I just mean he has the frame and he goes into the corners and he does things with the puck that not all players can do, where he just ends up winning the battle. I didn't see him lose many puck battles on the boards.
His puck retrieval skills were
it's nuts, man.
He's like a junkyard dog, Zach Hyman junkyard dog.
Yes, dog on a bone. And even and I'm talking about on the half walls and in the corners, but even in open ice, how many times would Nyes maybe he'd lock and load for a shot, and maybe not fire it off or a pass, whatever. He'd lose it, and within 2 seconds, he's got it back. Right? Open ice play, it's just quick.
I noticed that quite a bit. I think that comes down to first couple game jitters with the fan on the shot. I think if that's 5 years from now and he's in the lineup, dude, that thing's going on net, maybe top corner. But that's something that you love to see. You love to see that work. He knows he screwed up there, but he's gonna do everything he can to get it back. And he also, I don't think he took a penalty in the 3 games.
Took one was a high stick on the Tampa game, but it was it wasn't what a mistake, Nyes, rookie jitters again. It wasn't one of those.
His style of play kind of maybe lends more to you're riding that edge kind of. He's always locked in with the stick. He's locked in with his body. I think maybe we could see that. Maybe that could be something down the road, but I think right now his discipline looked to be okay. If he can maintain,
he's a finesse big guy. I don't think he's not gonna look. He imposes himself on the competition during the whistles, between the whistles, right? It's not coming after the whistle. I don't really think I'm gonna expect him to be doing like crazy antics and whatever. At least not as a rookie. I don't think that's in his game right now. It's not really his DNA. He's a finesse big guy, which is totally fine. All this being said, we're giving him all these compliments, and we're saying he's not going to be in game one. And I think it goes back to a conversation that me and Dave have had over the season, and many others have had, where we would look at the trade deadline and be like, who do we want to pick up? And the player that came to mind was Max Domi. Where we're like, oh, that'd be a great story, right? The prodigal son, all this good stuff. And then we said, yeah, that sounds great and all, but couldn't you see Max Domi making the Alex Galchenyuk turnover? Couldn't you see a Travis German moment?
Yeah.
That's what it came down to. And it does kind of feel like that could be the case with Nyes. And it's not because he's going to be that player for the entirety of his career. It's because the man has not even visited Toronto yet. He's literally going to be staying with John Tavares. Like, John Tavares literally adopted this man for the coming weeks. He's got 3 or 4 kids now when you include Nyes. Like, he's literally staying at John Tavares' house. The man doesn't have a home yet. You don't have to throw him in for game one. You don't have to throw him in for game one. Many people I've heard make the point that where it's like, you don't start in game one, and let's say you're up 2-1, or you go up 2-0, lose game 3, and you want to give your team a spark. You throw in Nyes for Lafferty or Czar. And that feels like a progression of the roster. It doesn't feel like a downgrade. It feels like you're building towards something. Whereas I feel like if you start with Nyes and then take him out, that almost feels like a failure of Nyes. Yeah, right? So I don't think it's good in that sense. And I also think to Nyes, to Czar and Lafferty's concerns, I don't think it's a great message to have these guys who have been working their tails off since the deadline and shown, in Czar's case, definite improvement, and Lafferty's maybe not as much, but flashes.
Yeah.
Right? Definitely flashes.
Yeah,
I don't think
100%.
it's a great message to send to those guys that we've had you in all season long as you've been here. And now that it really matters, I actually don't care about your hard work and you're going to be on the inside out. I know that's like maybe that's like a flowery, like kind of, not that, like this is the NHL, this is playoffs, whatever. But no, I really don't think you want to send that.
No,
message,
back your boys. Back your boys.
Exactly.
So quickly, yes or no, would you guys be content with the second round exit this year? Yes or no?
Oh my god, yeah.
Well,
oh my god. Yeah.
So here's the thing, right? It kind of feels like the demons are coming back. It looks increasingly likely. Like if you go through Tampa, it looks like you're going through the big dog in the East. You got to go through.
I wouldn't have it any other way. Okay.
I think
that's what I'm saying.
If I'm not mistaken, we could actually line up there. There could be a game lined up where we are running out of time though here quickly. So we could line up where I don't know if it's like the games, like let's say we get through, we play Boston, and the next game 7 happens to be the date of the original game 7.
Dave,
if I'm not mistaken,
incredible, my guy.
It's like almost 10 years. It's almost 10 years to the. It is 10 years to the date this year.
God.
Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Maybe.
And you can watch all the playoff games on Hockey Night in Canada on Football TV. Shout out to Razor. Shout out to NHLShops.ca so you can buy your Stanley Cup winning New Jersey Devils jersey this year, I guess. Maybe, potentially.
Buy your David Putty face paint.
Yes.
Thanks again for listening. This is episode 29 of PuckPod Rugby Sports. Shout out to Dave's
Watch Dave's TikToks. Come on. Yeah.
He's
been
making them all the best. And let's get ready for game 1 of the playoffs tonight or tomorrow for these guys.
Yeah.
Bye.